So I grew up in a Christian home with two loving parents, and we were in church every time the doors were open, and it was a huge part of my life. It was who I was, and definitely started a relationship with the Lord really young. Was baptized pretty young, and I believe that God was tugging at my heart during that time. I definitely knew what was expected of me in that household for sure. Like, I knew what to do and what not to do. When I graduated high school, I went to college. It was a culture shock. It was just a complete change, a lot of freedom that I hadn't had before. And so it's kind of my year of rebellion, and I sort of ran the opposite way from everything that I knew to be right. I knew what was expected of me. I knew what I was supposed to do, and I did the opposite of all of those things. That year ended up with me coming home, and I was 19 and found out that I was pregnant when I got back home. I was very ashamed of the choices that I had made and where they had led me, and the idea that now it was something that everyone could see. The sin was something that everyone could see on me. It wasn't just this thing that I could keep under wraps anymore. It had just become, real. It had caught up with me, I guess you could say. I didn't feel like I could walk through abortion. I knew enough from having a mother in crisis pregnancy that I knew that wasn't, that would be harder, that would be difficult. And both options were hard and messy, but that to me, life was what I had to choose. And I believe that God doesn't make a mistake, that only God can create life. So I knew that it would be hard and it would be difficult, but it would be walking through that life, and that's where, God would take me to the next chapter of my life. It is sort of, ironic that my mom works in crisis pregnancy, and here's her daughter in crisis pregnancy. She knew to send me to Athens Pregnancy Center because she knew the people there and had working relationships with them, and knew that they could give me, what I needed that she really couldn't as a mom, that she could turn me somewhere that would help me walk through that. I think it's easy to go somewhere and get sort of a Band-Aid on a wound. But I love the fact that, these women pray together in the morning, every morning, and just bathe the whole thing in prayer and sort of treat it like it's the Lord's ministry. And that, to me, I love that about it. And I love the way that they walk through that path with a woman. It's not just like, okay, here are your choices, choose A or B. Hope it works for you. See you later. It's really more about, okay, these are your choices. How can we help you make that choice? How can we help you walk through that? And, the actual equipping and teaching and just loving on and listening, those are the things that Athens Pregnancy Center does really well. God just really used that crisis and that really scary time to say, this is when you can start again. This is your opportunity to leave all of that behind and come back running towards me. That was my opportunity where I felt okay, I can turn back to the Lord and come back. For me, it's more about just the everyday walk of seeing what that life specifically has brought to this world, has brought to me, has brought to my family, and just the life that it creates. She creates this life that is beautiful, and that she has this special heart for the Lord, and just sort of seeing what that life looks like and knowing that I would have, missed out on that life. God wants to minister to other people through that life and sort of the chain, and so the situation itself around the pregnancy was messy and not done the right way, but God redeems that, and God comes back and brings that life full circle and uses it for His glory. And so I don't know, I think that to me is the beautiful thing about sort of being at rock bottom. And this is awful, but that's when we're honest with the Lord and we say I'm angry, I'm hurting, and He can take that. And then that honesty is where He can really turn it around, and you can start to, get free from the things that have really tried to destroy you. This was 12 years ago, I guess, that I was pregnant. but it's always been in my heart to really give back to the pregnancy center, and I wanted to be a part of that. And God just really birthed this thing inside of me to just want to help women in that same place. And definitely it comes from a place of empathy, and it has been really neat to be able to do that now, finally, to be able to do that and to just sit down with women and look them in the face and say God creates life, and that life is important. And no matter where you are, we're all moms, and it's all hard, and none of it is easy. It's all messy, and it's all life, and let's do it together. I think that's been a redemption piece, is when you get to see your story sort of come full circle and help somebody else, and to really understand where they are. It's been pretty powerful for me. I was 19 and unmarried and pregnant and scared. It just was, that's all I can know to explain it as fear. And so to have somebody sort of ease those fears and say it's going to be okay, this is how we're going to walk through it, and to actually walk through it with you. I think that is really important about what the Pregnancy Center does. The spot that you're in is confusing and lonely and dark, and you can't see around the corner, but I think that I know that God can see around the corner, and He knows where this plan is headed. And choosing life and choosing to parent is not an easy job. It's not an easy answer to your situation, but it is beautiful, and it bears fruit that you can't understand and you can't see now. But the beautiful part about it is that God, does redeem beauty from the ashes. That really dark, lonely place is where God meets you there and just shows you that life may not be the same, but that life is going to be different in another beautiful way, in another beautiful turn of your life, and that we can do whatever is put before us. We just have to be brave enough to sort of step into it and know that God is in control, and He's already planned every step of the way. We just have to follow Him and walk through it.